Remember that feeling, running around outside until the streetlights came on?
Yeah,
It felt like a different world back then, right? Maybe even, I don't know, a little safer.
definitely.
But today's deep dive, well, it kind of reminds us that even in those simpler times, you know, mysteries could happen
Oh,
right
yeah.
under our noses, leaving folks searching for answers for, well, decades, really.
Absolutely. And sometimes those mysteries, they hit us where it hurts, like the safety of our kids or the trust we have in our neighbors. It shakes the core of our communities.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to look at today. The disappearance of a 2-year-old, Beth Gil,
Right?
from her home in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, back in 1965.
A long time ago.
Some of our listeners might have grown up in a similar time.
For sure.
And maybe this case, brings back memories of what life was like back then.
Absolutely.
We've got eyewitness accounts, police reports, interviews with Beth's family.
All painting this picture of a small town, seemingly idyllic, suddenly shattered by a tragedy that still lingers today. What I find so captivating about this case is, how it unveils not only the story of a missing child, but how much has changed in terms of how we investigate and just societal awareness, really, over the past 50 years.
Okay, so let's go back to 1965, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. A tight-knit community where, everyone knows everyone.
Right.
The Gill family, 10 kids, they were a big part of this town.
Yeah.
Living a simple life, deeply connected to their community.
Yeah, imagine a time when, children could just roam free,
Right.
playing in the streets without a worry. Families looked out for each other, and there was this shared sense of security. And that's what makes Beth's disappearance even more shocking.
It was a beautiful Sunday in June.
Right.
That kind of day that makes you think summer's going to last forever.
Yeah.
8 of the Gill children were outside, playing in the yard with friends from the neighborhood.
Right.
As it got closer to church time, the older kids started rounding everybody up.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And that's when they realized Beth was gone.
Wow.
Panic must have set in instantly, right?
Oh,
They
absolutely.
searched the house, the yard, the nearby streets,
Hmm.
but she was just gone.
Can you imagine the terror that must have gripped the family? Especially the younger siblings who saw their parents frantically searching and their father just consumed by grief. It's a scene that's etched in their memories even now, all these years later.
The police were called, and what started as this desperate search quickly became a full-blown investigation. But with limited resources and a community in shock, the early days were, well, filled with confusion and dread.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
A little while before Beth disappeared, a motel opened on the edge of town.
Okay.
And remember, this is 1965.
Right.
Motels. And the kind of people who stayed in them, they were a new thing in small-town America.
Yeah. The arrival of this motel, and especially certain guests, becomes central to the investigation. It's like a piece of the outside world suddenly intruding on Cape Girardeau.
2 couples, they called them travelers, were staying at the motel,
Okay.
driving a Ford Thunderbird, which becomes important later on.
Okay.
These travelers were going door to door selling purses,
Oh.
which wasn't that unusual, but something about them just rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, in a close community like Cape Girardeau back then, anything out of the ordinary would stick out. And these travelers, with their flashy car and their pushy sales tactics, they definitely raise eyebrows.
They were seen changing their license plates, using different names in different places, almost like they were trying to stay hidden.
Right, and think about it. Back then, there were no big databases, no social media to check things against. If someone wanted to disappear, it was a lot easier. And these actions definitely set off alarm bells.
Even the car dealer who sold them the Thunderbird noticed something strange.
Mhm.
He told the police they seemed off, and he even wrote down their license plate number.
Like he had a bad feeling.
Yeah, it's like he had this gut feeling that something wasn't right.
And his instincts were spot on because a few days later, that same Thunderbird was seen with totally different plates.
Wow.
They were clearly trying to stay under the radar.
And get this, they checked out of the motel the very same day Beth vanished.
Wow, that's a chilling coincidence. Almost too suspicious to ignore. It makes you wonder if they weren't involved, why all the secrecy?
And Beth's mother later said that she saw a woman who looked like one of the travelers talking to Beth a week before she disappeared. It was a brief encounter, but looking back, it seems really important.
Yeah, it's like those moments in a movie where a small detail foreshadows a big twist, but in real life, those connections are often only clear in hindsight.
The police, Now even more suspicious of these travelers, sent out a memo to all officers, telling them to look out for the Thunderbird and the couples.
Right.
But with the changing plates and fake names, it was like chasing ghosts.
They were practically invisible, drifting through town, leaving behind unease and a lot of unanswered questions. And even though the FBI would later investigate the travelers, valuable time had already been lost.
So we have these suspicious travelers, a missing child, and a community on edge.
Right.
But was Beth actually abducted? 5 years after she disappeared, a man named Philip Odell Clark, who was already in prison for murder, contacted the police.
Oh, wow.
He said he knew what happened to Beth.
This is something we see a lot in missing person cases. False confessions, people looking for attention, or maybe some twisted way of making amends by offering information that leads nowhere.
Right, so Clark said he accidentally hit Beth with his car,
Oh, no.
and out of fear, he buried her body.
Wow.
The police, desperate for any lead, even got Clark out of prison to show them where he supposedly buried her.
I can only imagine.
But it was all a lie.
Oh, awful.
Clark's confession was a cruel hoax, just adding to the heartbreak.
It's unimaginable, the emotional roller coaster the Gil family went through, clinging to hope only to have it snatched away again and again.
These false leads really highlight how important it is to carefully check information,
Right.
even when it seems believable.
Yeah.
False hope can be just as damaging as no hope at all.
It drags out the pain, the uncertainty, the constant wondering.
Then, 10 years after Beth vanished, just when the case seemed cold, a woman came forward with a story that chilled everyone to the bone.
Oh, wow. What happened?
This woman had been in a general store about 45 minutes from Cape Girardeau
Okay.
on the very day Beth disappeared.
And she saw something connected to the travelers?
She saw a couple who looked exactly like the travelers buying clothes for a little girl who was crying for her mother.
It's like a scene from a nightmare.
Right.
A crying child, strangers buying her clothes, the sense that something terrible is happening just beneath the surface of everyday life.
And guess what kind of car they were driving?
It's got to be the Thunderbird, right? That seems to tie everything together, but it comes 10 years too late.
You got it, the Thunderbird.
Unbelievable.
It's heartbreaking that this crucial eyewitness came forward so late.
Right.
Back then, there was no security footage, no cell phone records, no way to quickly confirm her story. A missed opportunity.
It really makes you wonder
Right.
what seemingly small things we see every day might hold the key to solving a mystery, and how often do those observations go unnoticed or unreported simply because we don't realize their potential importance?
It's a haunting thought, and it shows how much we depend on technology today to solve crimes that back then might have just faded away. But despite all this, the Gil family never gave up hope.
They refuse to let Beth become just another statistic, another cold case. Their determination is truly remarkable, especially considering the limited resources available to families of missing persons back then.
They reached out to the FBI, appeared on national TV, started a Facebook group when social media came around. They did everything they could to keep Beth's memory alive and to find new leads.
Their persistence is a testament to the power of hope, the refusal to give up even when the odds are stacked against you. They wouldn't let the world forget Beth, and in doing so, they kept that flicker of hope alive that maybe someday they might find answers.
And their efforts did lead to some things, although not what they were hoping for.
Yeah.
Several women, many adopted or looking for their biological families, thought they might be Beth.
Right.
They even submitted DNA samples.
DNA technology has revolutionized missing person cases,
Right.
offering a glimmer of hope where before there was none. But it's not always a clear path to the truth, as we see in Beth's case.
None of those women turned out to be Beth.
Sad.
But in an incredible twist, one of these women, with the help of Beth's sister Martha, actually found her birth sister.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a beautiful example of how, even in the midst of their own heartbreak, the Gil family was able to bring closure and joy to another family.
That says a lot about their compassion and resilience.
Beth's case is still unsolved,
Yeah.
but it's a powerful reminder that even in a world that felt safer, innocence could be lost in an instant.
Right.
It makes you think, what really happened to Beth? Was she taken by those mysterious travelers? Did something else occur that nobody saw?
These questions linger, and the search for answers continues. We'll be back in a moment to dig deeper into the investigation and explore the possibility that Beth might still be out there.
So we were talking about the possibility that Beth might have been taken by those mysterious travelers.
Right.
A theory that seemed even more likely after that late eyewitness came forward.
Yeah.
But those early years of the investigation, well, they were limited by technology, weren't they?
Absolutely.
So what happened next? Did the case just fade away?
Not at all. Beth's family never let her case be forgotten. In fact, their determination led them to take some really extraordinary steps.
Oh,
Remember Beth's father, Harry?
mhm.
Well, in his desperation, he wrote a letter directly to President Lyndon Johnson asking for help.
A letter to the president. That's pretty bold, especially back in 1965. What was he hoping to achieve with that?
Well, he laid out all the details. The suspicious travelers, the lack of progress in the investigation, the anguish his family was going through.
Right.
He even reminded President Johnson about his family's service during World War II, appealing to a sense of duty and patriotism.
Wow.
It was a heartfelt plea from a father who had tried everything else.
That's incredibly moving.
Yeah.
It speaks to the depth of his despair, how far he was willing to go for even a sliver of hope.
Absolutely.
Did the president respond?
He did, in a way. About a month later, Harry received a letter, not from President Johnson himself, but from J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI.
Wow, imagine the mix of hope and anxiety when Harry opened that letter.
Yeah, it must have felt like a breakthrough, like maybe the FBI was finally going to take their case seriously.
So what did Hoover say?
Unfortunately, it wasn't the answer they were hoping for. Hoover's response was basically a polite rejection. He acknowledged receiving the letter and said that Beth's case had been added to the FBI's missing persons files.
Oh,
But he claimed there was nothing more they could do at that time.
that must have been devastating for the Gil family. To have their hopes raised only to be let down by the FBI is just heartbreaking.
It was a major setback, and it also highlights the limitations of law enforcement back then. The FBI had very strict rules about getting involved in missing person cases.
Right.
There had to be clear evidence of a kidnapping, like a ransom note or a witness to the abduction. But unfortunately, in Beth's case, there wasn't anything that definitive.
So if the FBI wasn't actively involved, what were the local police doing? Was the investigation completely stalled?
The investigation did seem to slow down for many years, hampered by time and the lack of new leads. But in 2003, a new detective in Cape Girardeau, Jimmy Smith, decided to take another look at the case.
Really? What made him revisit a case that was almost 40 years old at that point? Was there something new to go on?
Detective Smith was known for his dedication to cold cases, and something about Beth's story just resonated with him.
I see.
It wasn't necessarily new evidence, but maybe a fresh perspective, a willingness to re-examine the existing details with a modern approach.
Okay.
A lot of the original evidence had been lost or misplaced over time, but Detective Smith was convinced that the travelers held the key to solving Beth's disappearance.
It's amazing how one detective's determination can sometimes revive a seemingly forgotten case.
Right.
So what was his approach? Did he try to find those travelers after all these years?
He did, but by then it was like searching for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, I bet.
However, there was one crucial development that had emerged in the meantime: DNA technology.
This was around the time when DNA testing was starting to revolutionize criminal investigations, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And Detective Smith saw its potential in Beth's case. He worked with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to get DNA samples from Beth's mother and sisters. They entered Beth's DNA profile into the national database, hoping for a match that could finally give them some answers.
It's incredible how DNA technology has become such a crucial tool in these cases. It's like a ray of hope,
Yeah.
shining a light into the unknown. But even with DNA testing, it can be a long and difficult process filled with both hope and disappointment.
That's true. And in Beth's case, the wait for a DNA match went on for several more years. But finally, in 2010, there was a big breakthrough. The FBI officially joined the investigation and reclassified the case as a kidnapping.
It's hard to believe it took them over 45 years to get involved. What changed their minds?
The combination of Detective Smith's persistence, the advancements in DNA technology, and the continued advocacy of the Gil family finally got the FBI's attention.
Okay.
They recognized the potential for new leads, especially with the progress in DNA analysis and database technology.
So what did the FBI focus on when they finally joined the investigation? Did they revisit those leads about the travelers?
They did. They tried to find any living relatives of the travelers, hoping to get new information, or maybe DNA samples for comparison.
I see.
But as you can imagine, after so many years, the trail had gone cold, witnesses had passed away, memories had faded, and the travelers themselves, if they were still alive, had probably created new identities and vanished.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle where half the pieces are missing and the rest are faded and worn with time. That must have been incredibly frustrating.
It was a daunting task, but the FBI didn't give up.
Oh,
They conducted interviews, reviewed old case files, and explored every possible angle.
Hmm.
But the passage of time had taken its toll, and the investigation remained largely at a standstill.
So even with the FBI's involvement and the advancements in DNA technology, the case seemed to be stuck.
Mm.
Did the Gill family just accept that they might never find out what happened to Beth?
Absolutely not. They refused to let the investigation stagnate. Remember, they had always been proactive.
Right.
Always looking for new ways to keep Beth's case in the public eye. And now, with the rise of social media, they had a powerful new tool.
Social media has definitely been a game changer for missing person cases. It allows families to reach a huge network of people,
Yeah.
share information quickly, and keep their loved one's story alive in a way that wasn't possible before.
Exactly. The Gill family launched a social media campaign, created a Facebook group dedicated to finding Beth, and started using media attention to generate new leads. They appealed to anyone who might have even the smallest piece of information, a memory, a photograph, anything that could shed light on what happened to Beth.
It's a reminder that families of the missing often become their own best advocates. They never give up hope,
Right.
and they refuse to let the world forget their loved ones.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the enduring power of love and the unwavering belief that someday, somehow, the truth will come out.
Their efforts did lead to some new possibilities, some glimmers of hope that maybe after all these years, Beth might be found.
Really?
Several women who were either adopted or had uncertain parentage came forward, believing they might be Beth. It's something we see a lot in missing person cases. The hope that DNA testing might reunite families separated by circumstance or tragedy.
And in some cases, those hopes come true. But sadly, for the Gill family, none of the DNA tests were a match. It was another devastating blow, another reminder of how hard it is to find the truth and the enduring pain of not knowing.
It was a heartbreaking setback, but amidst those moments of disappointment, there was a heartwarming silver lining.
Oh.
Remember Martha, Beth's sister?
Yes.
Well, she had become deeply involved in supporting other families of missing persons.
Wow, that's great.
And through her work, she was actually able to help one of those women who came forward thinking she might be Beth to reunite with her birth sister.
That's a beautiful story of hope emerging from such difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
Even while dealing with their own heartbreak, the Gill family brought closure and joy to another family. It says so much about their character and their belief in hope.
It's truly inspiring. Their story reminds us that even when faced with unimaginable loss, there's still room for compassion, for helping others, for making a difference in the world, even if it's just one person at a time.
So where does this leave us with Beth's case? It's been over 50 years since she vanished. What are the chances she's still out there? Are there any active leads being pursued?
That's the question that continues to haunt everyone who has followed Beth's story. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has created age progression photos of Beth over the years,
Right.
showing what she might look like today. It's a haunting reminder that she could be out there somewhere, living a life she was denied, perhaps not even knowing about the family who has never stopped looking for her.
It's both hopeful and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The possibility that she's still alive, but also the realization of all that she's missed.
Right, all the years stolen from her and her family.
Exactly.
We've seen in other missing person cases that sometimes, even after decades, a single piece of information, a chance meeting, or a DNA match can change everything. The hope, however small, remains that someone, somewhere, might have the key to solving the mystery of Beth's disappearance.
It's a reminder that we should never underestimate the power of even the smallest detail,
Right.
the seemingly insignificant observation
Yes.
that might, in the right hands, connect the dots and lead to the truth. And it makes you wonder what Beth's life might have been like if she hadn't been taken. Did she find happiness? Did she have a family of her own? Did she ever think about the family who never stopped searching for her?
These are the questions that haunt families of the missing, the not knowing, the endless possibilities, the dreams and hopes that are forever intertwined with the pain of loss and the longing for answers. It's a weight they carry every single day, a burden that never fully goes away.
We'll be back in a moment to discuss the unanswered questions about Beth's case and the importance of never giving up hope, even when time seems to stand still. It's been quite a journey with this case, hasn't it?
It really has.
From that sunny Sunday in '65 to, well, DNA testing
Yeah.
and the incredible efforts of Beth's family.
Yeah.
As we think back on everything, what stands out to you the most?
I think For me, it's the stark difference between the world Beth vanished from and the world we live in now.
Right.
Back in 65, information moved slowly, leads went cold fast. The idea of a national DNA database or social media to help with a search, those were just unimaginable back then.
It makes you appreciate what we have today,
Yep,
especially when it comes to investigations.
absolutely.
But even with all our technology, Beth's case remains unsolved.
It does.
It shows that sometimes, even with the best resources, answers can still elude us.
Exactly. And it raises the question, what can we learn from this?
Right.
I think it's a call to be more observant, to pay attention to those small details. Imagine if someone back then had remembered seeing the Thunderbird in another town, or had written down part of a license plate.
It makes you realize that we all might have pieces of the puzzle,
Right.
whether we know it or not. Maybe a childhood memory, a conversation we overheard, something we thought was unimportant at the time.
Yeah.
But those bits of information could be crucial to solving a mystery, even decades later.
It's like a shared responsibility we have to be observant, to speak up, to trust our instincts when something seems wrong. We might think, oh, the police wouldn't care about this tiny detail. But you never know what could be the missing piece.
Beth's case is also a powerful reminder to never lose hope, even when time seems to be against you.
Absolutely.
The Gil family, their dedication for decades, it's truly inspiring.
It's a testament to the human spirit,
Right.
the strength of love and determination.
Their story shows us that while we can't change the past, we can choose how we respond to it. And sometimes that means holding on to hope, even when it feels like a whisper in the wind. Speaking of changes, how do you think Beth's case reflects the evolution of missing person investigations?
Oh, that's a great question.
We've talked about DNA technology, but what other developments have made a difference?
One of the biggest shifts is the increased awareness and support for families of the missing.
Right.
Organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children have been crucial in advocating for more resources, pushing for changes in laws, and providing support networks for families going through the unimaginable.
And we can't forget the role of the media, especially in recent years.
Absolutely.
Documentaries, podcasts, social media campaigns, they've all helped bring attention to cold cases,
Right.
generating new leads and keeping these stories in the public eye.
It's a reminder that while law enforcement is vital, it's often families, communities, and the public who keep these cases alive. They refuse to let them fade away, and their dedication can make all the difference.
If Beth is out there, do you think she has any idea how much she's loved, how hard her family has fought to find her?
It's a haunting question,
It is.
and one we may never have an answer to, but what we do know is that the Gill family's love never faltered, their hope never died, and that in itself is a testament to human connection, those unbreakable bonds that even time and distance can't erase.
As we conclude this deep dive, I'm left with a mixture of sadness and inspiration. Sadness for the Gill family and the answers they may never find, but also inspiration from their resilience, their refusal to give up.
I agree, and what I hope our listeners take away from this is a renewed sense of awareness. Pay attention to the details, trust your gut, and don't underestimate the impact you can have by sharing information or speaking up when something feels wrong. You might have that missing piece that helps solve a mystery.
Exactly, and if you have any information about Beth Gil, no matter how small it seems, please contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Yes.
That one detail, that one memory, could be what brings Beth home.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration into a mystery that still resonates today.
Yes, thank you.
May Beth's story remind us that even when faced with the unknown, hope endures, love persists, and the search for truth never truly ends.
And to our listeners, what mysteries, big or small, do you have in your own lives? What can you do to uncover the truth, to seek answers, to make a difference? Sometimes the answers we're looking for are closer than we think,
That's a great point.
just waiting to be discovered.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and never stop seeking the truth.